So as you may remember, I came out as bisexual last year, and since then I have been dating women. And what I found very fascinating is that the more I date women, the more I find myself understanding heterosexual men. Let me explain. Exhibit A. I was on a first date with a girl, who asked me out, by the way, this is relevant, because when the check came, she never once made a move to pay. Not even like the fake, let me reach for my purse move. And though I don't mind paying on a date, part of me felt like, the offer would have been nice. I was also a little taken aback that she didn't even say thank you. And I never heard from her again. It really made me feel like she just asked me out so she could have a free dinner. And the moment I thought that, I was like, oh my God, I sound like all of my guy friends right now.
Oh, that stings, doesn't it? When women say that dating another woman would be easier, this is the reality. It's not easier because they cannot even offer to pay for their dates. Let's continue.
My argument against why guys should pay for dates has always been like, look, girls take hours to get ready. Our investment is looking really nice for you. Makeup, clothes, that costs money too. But we were both girls in this situation. We both took hours to get ready, so I definitely felt slighted. Exhibit B. On another date, I went back to a girl's house and I ended up making friends with her cat. That's not a pun, I'm talking about her literal, actual animal. And she said, wow, my cat never likes anyone. I better go out and buy a wedding dress. And again, I felt like I got some serious perspective. I have been guilty of making these kinds of jokes on dates with men. I never really thought anything of it. I was just being silly.
When two women date, they easily or very quickly want to move in together. And this is one of the scenarios. They just think that their initial attraction is good enough to just have a long-term bond like moving in together. But then they realize they're not compatible. And that's where all the fights happen and all that stuff happen. And they are very quick to leave each other. Unlike men, where we like to at least try and make that relationship work. But women, they don't have to do that because they have plenty of options to move from.
But then when I was on the receiving end of it, I suddenly understood the panic. And finally, Exhibit C. One girl invited me back into her house, and her specific words were, do you want to come in and make out? Obviously, I'm like, yeah, you're really pretty. I want to press my face to yours. But then when we got there, we both just sat on the couch and she talked till like 3 a.m. And I was like, yo girl, I gotta wake up at like 6 a.m. I was told there would be kisses here. There are no kisses. And like, look, I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like, I don't mind talking. I love talking. But she could have said, do you want to come in and just talk? And I would have had totally different expectations for the evening. Finally I started falling asleep and I was like, hey, I gotta go. And I gave her one kiss and left. And I felt sad that the amount of kisses promised did not equal the amount of kisses delivered. And once again, I felt like a dude who was upset that I did not receive the expected physical kisses I was promised.
Here are some comments for this video. I wanted to see some women commenting on that, but I only found, I think these are all men. Some could be women, but I cannot find them, so that's it. Pause and read. Let's move on to the next one.
I'm 28 years old. I'm in my first relationship with a woman ever, and this is why dating women is not easier than dating men. Okay, number one, the beginning phase when you're first trying to talk to a woman is so much harder than talking to a man. Flirting is not the same. I remember when I was dating men, I used to think flirting was so easy. I would either roast the shit out of them, or I would just have this level of confidence. Whereas with women, especially feminine-looking women, you can't really tell if they're also interested in other women. B, it's so much more nerve-wracking. You're like, hee, I like your top. Whereas with men, I'd be like, do I make you nervous? It's just so different. In my personal experience, men are pretty straightforward. I feel like men make it pretty clear if they're interested in you or not. Women, on the other hand, we do not think in a linear way the same way men do. We are so much more complex. Think about so many other things when we're dating somebody. I'm not saying that all men are like this, but in my personal experience, women are just far more complex emotionally. Speaking on emotions, when I was dating a man, I could be so fucking pissed off. and just like huffing and puffing, and he would never notice. Now that I'm dating a woman, Jess and I are so intuitive with each other's emotions. It's insane. She could so as much as blink different or breathe slightly off, and I'll be like, what is going on? I just feel like we're so much more intuitive and in tune with each other's emotions, whereas with men, it just goes right over their head. Because we feel so deeply, anytime that a fight happens or there's a disagreement, I don't know why, but the emotions feel 10 times heightened in comparison to when I would go through things with men. I feel like I would be able to brush it off no problem with Jess, and maybe it's also because we're like very in love, but you feel the emotions and you feel them so deeply because your emotional connection is just so strong. One thing I really was not prepped for when dating Jess was the eyeballs that we get when we show any sign of PDA.
When I was dating men, we would go out, hold hands, kiss in public, and nobody would bat an eye. But dating Jess, whenever we go out and we show any signs of PDA, people are just staring. Like, we literally had an instance where we went to a restaurant and we kissed and people started clapping. Lastly, apparently the breakups with women are way more intense, way harder than the breakups with men. I'm hoping that I never have to experience that, but I have heard from other people that your first breakup with a woman is not good.
When she was talking about how it's more emotional with woman relationship and all that stuff, it's basically mean that they cannot blame each other, because if they start blaming each other in a fight, it's only going to increase. Whereas in men, we just like to just ignore that, say sorry and move on. And women will accept that. It has probably become a norm where you should accept, even though the woman is wrong, you have to say sorry and move on. But in a lesbian relationship, that kind of thing doesn't work, because both are women and they both want to be proven right. And that's why the divorce rate is also high amongst them. Let me know what you feel. Let's move on.
Can we please talk about how hard it is to date as a healthy lesbian? Side note, it is hard enough just dating a woman because we're just so cutie and emotional and we want to love, 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 love. But holy smokes, babe, can we slow down? Now, don't get me wrong. Kiss me on the mouth, I want to touch front, I'm all in. But I thought we were reversing the U-Haul, right? Like, we're supposed to be healthy. And I am trying so hard to rein it in, slow it down, really get to know you, babe, right? Because we're healthy, we're healing. But oh my God, it's so hard because I just want some moochies, you know? So are we gonna slow down and be healthy, or are we still like diving headfirst into the puss? Could we please talk?
If someone is unaware of the term U-Haul, it probably means they want to move in together quickly as soon as possible. And here we got a player who just wants the good stuff because they are healing. But when the relationship part comes up, they want to ditch. It's crazy.
I think there's some, well, we'll have to like gather data and see, but I feel like there are some personality traits that can be significantly different and can still line up. Like, you couldn't put two neurotic people together.
No, that would.
Like,
that's why lesbian
not.
relationships don't last. Well, it is
That's
why.
gonna get clipped.
Well, it is why. It is why, because about 70-75% of divorces are initiated by women. And the simplest explanation for that is that on average, the most unhappy person in the relationship is going to be the woman. Well, why? Well, because on average, she has higher levels of negative emotion. That doesn't necessarily mean that that negative emotion doesn't reflect problems in the relationship.
Yeah.
But she's going to be more sensitive to that. Well, so if you put two women together, well, you know, what do you think happens?
I think that's enough about lesbian relationship. Let's move on to our non-money top content. That's it.
So last night I ended things with a guy that in one of my previous videos I had referred to as the most intentional man I've ever spoken to. And it's just really a shame because he really is a great guy and I wish that I could just make myself have feelings, but I just can't. And he's so great, I didn't want to just keep stringing him along because he had voiced that, you know, he's looking for a relationship and he made it very clear how he felt about me. And I just felt really badly about making it go on any longer when I just knew it wasn't there for me. And it really just got me to thinking, because usually we talk about how when stuff like this happens and we're on the opposite end of this, like the receiving end of it, it's like, man, what happened? We want to know why. We want to know like all the details. I'm guilty of that 100%. But in this case, if he had asked me for more details, I really don't know that I would have been able to give him any. Besides, it just wasn't there for me. And I know that's hard, but it just kind of gave me a new perspective being on this side of it, how men have talked to me in the past and just said, they're just not feeling it. And it's a shame, but there's really nothing you can do. It's just the name of the game. All it takes is one. So we're back out here again.
You ever been in situations where you're talking to a guy, getting to know each other, and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason, and you can't help but to think, wow, we would have been really cute together. Like, actually, I was rooting for you. The whole group chat was rooting for you, but then you just start moving weird, acting weird, and we don't like that here, but I was rooting for you.
Maybe you caused something to make that person act weird. It's never their fault, it's always a man's fault.
So women would definitely cheat on you. The materialistic woman, the one who loves to flirt, the ones always looking for attention, and the one you never can go around their friends, they always keep you hidden. Those are women that 9 out of 10 will definitely cheat on.
Did you know that single women own 2.71 million more homes in America than single men? That's crazy. Especially considering that women couldn't even get a mortgage by themselves until 1974. This has been a busy 50 years, I guess. Period.
I'm pretty sure most of those homes, or most of those single women owning homes, are probably divorced. I highly doubt they actually got it by their own money.
That's because men buy houses to fill them up with kids, while women buy houses just to say they did it. Who buys a home for themselves? You know how stupid that is? You get an appointment for that. And it wouldn't shock me if a bunch of those properties were achieved through divorce. Women always keep the houses.
What's up, guys? Family vacay mode. Got the kids, wife, grandma's here. Going on a road trip. This is what life's about, people. Family life. Guys, don't do it. It's a fucking nightmare, all right? I ain't got no money. Everybody got to pee every 10 minutes. If you single, stay single. Please, listen to me. All right, you guys ready for a road trip? Yeah! Oh, shit!
Well, anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoy, like, share, subscribe. Here are some more videos you can see, select from, and that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next one.